You ready?
Yes, sir.
Yo. Welcome back to the Out of the Box Show. I'm John Wallace alongside my co-host, James Luffy, and it's great to be back.
Yep.
I really do try not to miss episodes, but I had to take a little medical leave from the show. We don't have Roy this week. We gave him another vacation.
Mm-hmm.
He is in the happiest place on earth.
Happiest place on earth, baby.
With or for a little grad trip.
Yep.
So it looks like he's been posting Snapchats and all that. I saw today he was in the Star Wars section. So it looks like Rory's having a good time. We hope he has a good rest of his vacation. Hopefully, I don't know if he'll be back next week, but either way, the Out the Box podcast keeps rolling. Big episode this week. There's a lot of stuff we got to cover. Most of it baseball related. LSU, I wouldn't say a quick out in the SEC tournament, but we did only play 3 games. We went 1-2 in the tournament. Figured out our regional. LSU, unfortunately, will not be hosting a regional at Alex Box Stadium. We're gonna break down the upcoming regional in Hattiesburg.
Dirty Bird.
Going to be interesting this coming weekend.
Yep. Friday it starts.
Get hype. Luffy might try to make the Friday night game.
That's right.
If he can slip away from his obligations. But other big news around the LSU baseball program. We'll get to a recurring guest on the Out the Box podcast. Got called up to the major leagues. Couldn't have happened to a better dude. We will get to all of it. But before we do that, I want to give a huge shout out to the Boot Crew Media Network. Boot Crew Media has content for days. We say it every single week. Make sure to check out Boot Crew Media. They are becoming a monster in New Orleans and the surrounding areas. New Orleans, Baton Rouge, all of Southern Louisiana. That's why it's called Boot Crew. BootCrewMedia.com and on social media at Boot Crew Media. Also, just like getting called up to the majors might be the greatest news you could ever receive, Blaine Loop is the greatest realtor you could ever get. If you were looking to buy a home, sell a home, find a home to rent, or rent out your own investment property, Blaine Loop wants to help you out. Blaine wants to be your friend, your neighbor, and your agent. Make sure to call or text him at 504-858-0031 for all your housing needs. Okay. LSU heads up to Hoover. It was kind of a long week, so not to get too much into it, but I was watching a lot of TV last week. I was like I said, in the week before, I was sitting on my butt a lot, and I was watching TV. And LSU was supposed to play on Wednesday. Tournament started Tuesday, and the game just kept getting pushed back. The weather was unrelenting for the first couple days. But we finally got to play Thursday night.
Yep, very late night game. I did not make it the whole game. I think I made it to the 7th inning, which it was, Mikhail gave us the classic Mikhail Hilliard start, and gave up a couple runs, but was, keeping us in the game. And then the bats exploded. The bats came into that game really hot and stayed hot. And that was important to win that game. And we really thought if we won that game, we would be hosting a regional.
Turns out that wasn't the case. It was a quality win, and I don't think that it was, the final score of the game ended up being 11-6 against Kentucky. I would not have predicted that Kentucky would be the team that bounces us from the tournament. I guess we'll get to that on the other side of the Tennessee game. This game, I think literally the first pitch was at 10:15 at night. I don't think anyone really had high hopes as far as like, and I don't even think that's so much a knock on LSU as just how good Tennessee is.
I mean, Tennessee's literally been amazing this year. I think they're like minus 600 to win their regional. They're plus like 400 to win the College World Series. It's just insane what they've done this year. Anything short of winning it all is a huge letdown for them this year. John's obviously dressed up in his volunteer orange today, in support of them. He's probably got a future on him or something.
Yes.
But
I mean, honestly, that's a good bet.
and Ty Floyd did not pitch that bad in this game. Gave up a couple hits, but other than that, two of the guys he walked scored. So without the two walks, I still think it's a positive start for Ty going into this postseason, which we'll get into this weekend and what we think the pitching rotation will be. But positive start with also I think 5-2, and so the bats couldn't get going for us and get us out of that game. But you know what, it doesn't really matter anymore. That game doesn't matter anymore, and the same with the third game.
Well, interesting. Little quick tidbit from the Tennessee game. We had the same number of hits as Tennessee.
Yeah.
Right. We split the hits down the middle, 6 and 6. I think Chase Dolander is, I mean, the dude's a first round pick.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he's eligible for the draft this coming year or next year. But dude's 9-0 on the year.
Yeah.
The stat that kind of jumped off the page at me whenever they were doing the little, his intro in the first inning is dude's got 9 walks on the season.
Yeah.
9 walks on the season.
That's silly.
And he's throwing 97, 98 miles an hour. We knew it was going to be tough. We knew, I think the one thing that makes it so tough about it being Tennessee is that you see the success that Tony Vitello is having, love him or hate him. He's a damn good baseball coach. And it's interesting. I'm not at all saying, I wish we'd have gotten Vitello or anything, because I think Jay Johnson's on the right track and I think he's a fantastic baseball coach, but it kind of rubs a little salt in the wound to see Tennessee succeeding this well.
Sure. And I mean, they've just had an incredible season, and the difference in that game may have been some of the walks. You talked about the little walks they give up, the walks given up by us, and we just got beat by Kentucky bad in the final game.
Yeah, I think that was just an unraveling of LSU baseball. You come out. I honestly, the game LSU had to be up and around relatively early. I think the game was at like 12:31 that next day. And when you're playing baseball until 1-2 a.m. in the morning, and you lose to a team like Tennessee, it was more of like a grueling loss. It wasn't like a beatdown or anything. It was just like everything was difficult. Nothing came easy. Then you got to wake up the next day, it's hard to beat a team twice as well in the tournament.
And Kentucky was hot at the end of the tournament. I mean, it's unbelievable they didn't make a regional to me. Probably put them in over Ole Miss, but it comes down to the wire like that. But it seems like they don't place as much emphasis on the SEC tournament. But at the same time, Florida finished their season hot and ended up a host. So
yeah, and I guess my final thought on LSU's performance in Hoover is the only thing that is majorly concerning about the way LSU played is that they were being no-hit into the 7th inning by Kentucky. That is one of those things. Granted, their pitcher pitched well. Kentucky made the plays, and LSU did have a few base runners reach on errors. I think Morgan reached on an error by the second baseman. But that was concerning to go that cold in a tournament environment against a 12 seed.
Yeah, no Jacob Berry, no K. Doty,
Sure.
Which I think plays a part into that.
Sure.
And I think, that was a conscious decision by Jay. I mean, he talked about it last week during the SEC tournament whenever somebody was asking about not revealing our pitchers until they, turn in the card. But he wants to go to Omaha. His goal is to make it to Omaha and have a shot to win it all. His goal, he didn't say his goal was to win the SEC tournament. I don't think they wanted to lose, but I think they're definitely holding those two back. And I did hear that Jacob Berry was hitting left-handed BP in practice today or yesterday. So that is good to hear.
Big news. And Doty is projected to be back for this weekend as well. Correct?
Yeah, they're saying he's going to be back. I think they said he wasn't going to hit like BP until like right before the game. So that's maybe a little concerning, but it seems like Barry for sure will be back playing.
Yeah, and I think Collier Cranford, I mean,
Yeah.
he's continuing to step up his defensive play. If you could just have that glove, like if you could DH for Jacob Berry at third base, just let him hit and put Cranford at third to.
Well, I think Cranford will play third.
You think?
Yeah, I think he's going to play third. I think Barry will be DH.
You think?
I think that's possible. I mean, I just don't know if they think his finger's not healthy enough to throw the ball across. It's his right hand, I believe.
And then you keep Joe Barron right.
Yeah, probably. I think so.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think that sounds right.
I mean, if Barry can't, if they're like not comfortable with him throwing, I don't know that he's taking fielding practice. I didn't hear anything about that. So I doubt if he's practicing, if he's not practicing the field, that he's going to play in the field. But I guess we'll find out.
Well, I think we'll put our best foot forward moving into the regional. And I guess while we clean up the past, the ghost of baseball past, we got some guys that can help us out to clean that up.
That's right. Rory talked about it last week. I think his what did he say? His stepdad called and got a roll off dumpster and a porta potty work box. Set them up. If you need porta potties, if you need storage containers, portable offices, portable restroom rentals, or roll off dumpsters, they're the best service in Louisiana. Cleanest porta potties out there. You have to call Martine at Workbox at 225-343-4886. If you need a porta potty, if you're redoing your house, you need a storage container, and you need a dumpster, call Martine at Workbox at 225-343-4886.
Yes. And with that, I think we will go ahead and kind of break down the Hattiesburg Regional. I think the a little funny story. I was eating dinner at my grandparents this past Sunday, I believe, when they announced the host sites. They didn't announce the who would be in what regional, but they did announce the host sites. And my grandparents had a couple friends over, and the notification hit everyone's phone at the same time, and it just said LSU baseball will not host a regional at Alex Box Stadium. And they were all like, "Oh no, that's so terrible. Like I wish we could, that's so good for the program and whatnot." I said, actually, in my opinion, it's a good thing, because we likely would have had to play Tennessee. That was kind of the thought. If we got the 16 seed, we'd have to play
I think
Tennessee.
it would have been 15, but I think Georgia Southern was always the 16 seed.
Well, I'd rather take a chance, be a 2 seed, kind of like Rory said early on in the year, be a 2 or 3 seed that you don't want to face, right?
Yeah.
I think LSU's in a lot better position to strike from the Hattiesburg Regional. It pairs well. They're paired with the.
What do you mean?
Like that regional?
Oh, it's paired with Miami, which is Miami, Ole Miss, and Arizona, Jay Johnson's former team, and one other team. I've never even heard of this team. I posted a poll on OTB, and I think we had one sarcastic vote for this team. I don't even know how you say the school, but Arizona, Ole Miss, and Miami. If Arizona or Ole Miss win, I'm pretty sure if we win the regional, we will be hosting a super regional in Baton Rouge. And like to John's point about it being easier, we're actually still the favorite in this regional, even though we aren't the 1 seed. And Southern Miss, the fans are going to be out there. I don't think they're going to let the LSU fans buy up the tickets. I think we're going to have a huge home field advantage tomorrow night against Kennesaw State. And then, you know what? Army isn't going to be the easiest matchup in the world for Southern Miss either. They could very well win that first game, and we could be playing Army in the second game. Who knows? But Southern's a good team. They have 4 legit pitchers. As far as the plate, they've slowed down a little bit as of recently. I talked to some UFM fans this past weekend when I was home, and they said that they have kind of struggled towards the end of the year hitting the ball, but 4 solid starters and a program that's not just coming out of the blue and hosting. Like they've hosted before and they've been good in the past.
Yeah, and I think, this has kind of been my I guess main, driving point throughout the whole year. Like, it's always important to win the first game and be in the driver's seat of a weekend series, but that's especially important in a regional, right? Because you're not in the losers bracket. There's no chance of you having to play 3-4 games to battle back from the losers bracket. And I think Kennesaw State,
so for Kennesaw State, who would you start? Would you start Mekhi Hilliard or would you start someone else?
I think you start McHale. I think you start McHale. You let things play out. You hope that Army can somehow sneak a win against Southern Miss, and you let it play out. But it's crucial. We're in postseason baseball. We're in win or go home mode, and you have to be in the driver's seat. You can whole staff a regional if you're in the driver's seat. Right, like LSU could pitch a different pitcher every 1-2 innings if they wanted to for the rest of the regional. If McHale goes deep into the game, 7 innings on Friday night.
And I was listening to Jason Kelly on Hunt and Hill today, and he was talking about all the analytics they had for different teams. If it's a team that's like struggles with fastball, if Kennesaw State is, I would not be surprised to see Ty Floyd run out there. I mean, I just think that when you're playing a team like Southern Miss, you're going to have to battle against. Those guys aren't going to give up. Or even Army if they win. Army's leading the league or has like a ton of stolen bases. But I think that you'd want Hilliard going against Southern Miss in that game, in that environment. It's going to be rowdy in there, and I think you want Hilliard going, but I think it's going to depend on the analytics. I think they're going to pitch whoever they think is the better fit on Friday night.
No, whatever they think, it's just crucial that they win that first game, in my opinion.
But I think that they've done a good enough job with the pitching staff this year that we didn't think was going to be very good. They basically turned it around. That whatever decision, if they go with Ty Floyd, I have to sit there and think that that's the right decision because what everyone's been mad at. Everyone was mad about Rez throwing 56 pitches and closing out that first game of the Vanderbilt series. But look, Jason Kelly said today that, that is part of what they've been trying to do with him, stretch him out because on Monday in a super regional, you might need a guy like that to start a game or, come in the second inning and go 5 or 6 innings. So they've obviously had a plan and our pitchers have been, somewhat healthy, knock on wood here, but
is this real wood?
We've only had, I guess, no, you gotta get like the door frame.
It's mahogany.
I'm not sure.
I don't think it is.
But I think that we've earned their trust, to make the right decision, and they've really developed like the bullpen, and we haven't had the injuries too. That speaks to how much they're using some of these guys, like on back-to-back nights. I think them not is our only major injury. Is it Javon Coleman? Who didn't?
Wow, that is a name that I haven't even thought about.
And you know what? He could have been the number 1 starter on this team this year. He was basically our Saturday guy at the end of last year, and was really good. So like John said, he hadn't even heard of the name Coleman, and
I completely forgot he was even on the team.
Yeah. But other than that, that was like a preseason thing. We haven't really had any injuries. So, I really think that you could see Ty Floyd, but I also think they trust Ty Floyd after seeing what he did against Tennessee to go back out there and just tighten it up a little bit. And it will be a really good performance.
That would be even better is if Ty Floyd went out there, who is not your Friday night guy, got the win,
against
and then
Miss.
you have McHale to
you mean Kennesaw?
No, against Kennesaw State, okay. You throw him out there, and then you save McHale.
And Ty Floyd's a guy who can go 7 innings.
Sure.
And then you're maybe throwing Cooper for an inning and Raiselman for an inning, but they can both go again that next night against Southern Miss.
Yeah, and I think Hasty. I think he definitely struggled against Kentucky. He was put in a spot where he had to start.
That was his worst outing. He'd been had been pitching pretty good. I think that will happen with relief pitchers every once in a while.
Yeah, and then you put him in a spot where he was starting. He's not used to it. So I believe he will play a key role. He'll bounce back and be a contributor to definitely the relief staff. because I think that's where he's been his whole career. So I think we're set up well. I think we're in a fantastic spot. Who's to say that everybody knows that Alex Box is the advantage that it is, and it would have been nice. But who knows? We may luck out and get a super hosted at the Box. So, and like we said before, if there is, we'll do a tailgate.
That's right.
So,
you want to talk a little bit about Josh Smith?
Let's do it. That was my next thing. So,
okay.
Fantastic guy. Recurring guest on the other, but he was one of our first guests. I think we had him on the show, and we were still recording with one AirPod in each ear. Couldn't have happened to a better guy. Couldn't have happened to a better baseball player. Honestly, like, one thing I'll say about Josh Smith, I've known him a long time, but I heard about him before I knew him. Right.
Really?
So it was always like, man, that kid is going to be something special at baseball. I mean, I've been hearing that since middle school. He played travel ball and whatnot, and you would hear about him, and it's like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, he's pretty good. And then high school, he's starting shortstop as a freshman, hitting home runs. I believe he won a state championship his freshman year as the shortstop. So, and then you watch him have a very successful career at LSU, and everything he's touched baseball wise, and off the field has been good.
And I don't know Josh as well as John does, but I mean, he is cool. He's cool as a cucumber. He's level headed. Like he has that perfect baseball demeanor. I mean, every time I see him, he just seems like he's just leveled, never gets too high, never gets too low. I don't even know if he changes from center. Like, it doesn't bother him whether he gets a base hit or a double, or he strikes out. Like, he's gonna have the same reaction, pretty much. And like nothing, it didn't change. He won't remember it when he's out there in the field. He has smooth hands in the field, and his hands are so good, and he doesn't strike out much. He keeps his hands to the zone. He knows how to play baseball really well. He's just a really good baseball player, and he's got the perfect temperament for it. I think he could play baseball for a long time.
Yes. First game, 3 hits.
Yeah, 3 for 4. Absurd. We watched the first game. He was great, obviously, and then he started again last night, which we watched, and did pretty well. I think he got hit by a pitch twice, which a lot of LSU fans have found funny, just because this year we've got hit like the most in the SEC.
He went through a phase at LSU where he got hit a lot, decent bit,
and he does kind of get up over the plate sometimes, so that could be a reason why. But and stole a base last night too. So the guy, I mean, he really can do everything.
Dude, it's crazy. Like, I can't imagine, like, the dude is literally playing against these guys. Like,
he can also play multiple positions too.
Oh yeah,
and he's not like a big dude. Like, is that why you're saying it like that? That he's
well, I mean, partly, but it's just crazy to think you watch all these MLB players and you're like, oh, like, it just feels like they're like on a different. They're in a different like tier, or not a different tier, but you know what I'm saying? It's like it's almost like they're larger than life. And just knowing him and knowing he came from Baton Rouge and knowing that he's having success and competing with these guys is kind of like mind-boggling.
And that it's like not phasing him really at all who he's playing against.
No, because he knew it. He knew it all along. Yeah. Everybody knew it. Everybody knew it from the time he was in middle school.
I mean, and to make it up in the MLB, he was a second-round draft pick, right? Towards the latter half of the second round, correct. I believe. And I don't know what the percentage for that pick is. I tried to look it up. I could not find it online. I thought some baseball nerd would have like percentage by pick in the draft that you would make it to make it to the MLB.
That's got to be
which is very, and
buried in Reddit.
And his is probably, I would guess, maybe like around 15%, something like that. Would you
say?
To
do it that quickly, too.
And to do it that quickly, and at that age, it's probably like less than 5%. So, I mean, he's and the Rangers have they like him a lot. They traded for him at the end of last year from the Yankees, and they obviously have a lot of trust in him, calling him up and having him start, 2 games in a row for him.
Yeah, through 2 games, batting 600, on base percentage 714, slugging percentage 600 as well. 3 hits, 2 runs scored. insane. 2 games.
And a stolen bag.
Yeah. I mean, if he keeps this up, batting 600, and
League
and
MVP.
scoring an average of 1 run a game, I mean, who knows what's next for our boy Josh Smith. But yeah, all that to say, wish him the best of luck. We need to get him back on the show. I don't think it'll be a little more difficult now, considering that's like his
maybe in the fall, like after when he's in town, LSU game.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess while we're talking about the major leagues, we could talk about DraftKings. Baseball fans, it's time to step up to the plate with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner in Major League Baseball. New customers can bet just $5 on any team to win and get $200 in free bets if they do. You can play for free for thousands in prizes. You can bet on Josh Smith. You can literally go on the DraftKings Sportsbook, bet over 1/2 a hit. It's probably minus 150 at this point because the dude's batting 600 in the major leagues. But go on there, place a bet, Josh Smith over. That's a good house always wins pick. We'll throw that in as a bonus. Make sure to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code BOOT. Bet just $5 and win $200 in free bets if your team wins their game. That's promo code BOOT at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. 21 plus restrictions apply. MLB trademarks used with permission. See show notes for details. All right. You got anything else, Lovey?
I have a special announcement.
Okay.
The hats will be coming in next week.
Beautiful.
If you want a hat, text me to reserve. We have charcoal and navy coming in. We will not be posting a picture of them on our social media account.
First come, first serve. You got to text us, and it's only for our true listeners. So if you listen to the show,
they're going to be $30 because they are expensive to make. We're not making any money, by the way. They're like $27 to make, right over $27 to make a piece. So we're just trying to make the money back so we can order some more.
Nice. Yeah. Good deal. So looking forward to that. Make sure to text us if you want one. All right. You got any miscellaneous?
They are the dry fit hats too. Some people. Sorry, I forgot to add that. No, I did not have any.
Great for the golf course.
Great for the golf course, especially hot summer months.
Sam Burns just won another tournament.
Beat world number 1, Scotty Scheffler. He's won 3 tournaments this year. That is a lot of PGA. I mean, there's not many players win 3 tour events in a year. It will probably only be Scotty Scheffler, Sam, and maybe 1 or 2 other guys. Top 10 player in the world. I mean, he's a star now. There's nothing you can say about him. I mean, I don't know what his world rank is after that win, but he might be like the 8th best player in the entire world. Also from Louisiana, played at LSU not that long ago. Kind of crazy. Very young age too.
Incredible. Side note, not unrelated. I did see LSU football less than 100 days out.
Yeah,
we're approaching that. It'll be here before you know it, but we do have to get through the dog days of summer. So hopefully LSU baseball can carry us a little longer until the dead days. But yeah, something to look forward to.
Sunday night in the Dome. Yeah.
Yes. So, all right. House always wins. I don't understand how you and Rory haven't seen this or texted me about it yet. LSU football for next year. I don't know if y'all saw, but their regular season projected win total
watch the episode
is 7.5 wins. How could you not hammer the over?
Did we get 6.5 or did we get 7.5?
I think so. In the interview with Jacques Doucet, Brian Kelly said it was 6.5. Mm-hmm. Last I checked, it was 7.5.
But this was a certain book that had it at 6.5.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I do not know.
I do think it's 7.5. No, I do agree with you.
Either way, you got to hammer that, right?
You have to.
I mean, how could y'all have not known about that yet?
It's crazy that we didn't.
Yeah, real funny. I listened to the episode because I listen to every episode for quality assurance.
I knew that you were going to listen. Well, I said you would listen, and Rory said he's not going to listen.
I always listen, but
I know.
So little backstory. So I did take a screenshot. I watched the interview while I was down last week between Jacques Doucet and Brian Kelly. It was after y'all recorded the episode. Well, I'm not going to listen to a podcast just sitting in my living room chair while the TV's on. And, my sister brought my niece and nephew over. So there was really not a good time to listen to a podcast. Well, when I got a little better, I, was driving around and I would listen to bits and pieces when I'd go to the gas station or whatever. Well, I listened to the interview with Brian Kelly and I was like, holy crap. Like, how is that so low? So I looked it up and I texted it to y'all, and both of y'all just started like clowning me in the group text, like, haha, like, what did you listen to the episode or whatever? So I did go back and listen to the episode, and yeah, I think I honestly, like, with Brian Kelly, with our quarterback room and the progress and the structure that has been made thus far, and we're barely into summer, you gotta hammer it. You gotta hammer it. I might throw $100 on it every week.
I can't wait till we do the predictions, and then you pick us like 12.
Well, the past few years I'm probably gonna walk back my 12-0 natty prediction for the year, but I mean 7.5. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
I mean,
it's LSU football. We went 500 in a COVID year when our starting quarterback
COVID
got
year
hurt.
didn't count. I don't even remember that year.
Exactly. And what did we end up this past year?
I think 6-6 or 6-7 because we lost a bowl game. 6-7.
Yeah, that doesn't happen multiple years in a row at LSU. So I think we're back.
I agree. I think if you win the Florida State game, that's the game, right? If you win the Florida State game, you feel pretty good about it. And what did we say about the season total last year? If you win the UCLA game, you feel pretty good about it.
I wanted to forget about that. So
all right, I got a little regional parlay that I put together earlier. LSU versus Kennesaw State on Friday night, parlayed with Florida against Central Michigan Friday night, parlayed with Vanderbilt against San Diego. The SEC three-way parlay. It's playing plus 195. You like that? So LSU, Florida, Vanderbilt, money line parlay on the regional Friday night game, plus 195.
So what is LSU like? What is the
minus
money
2
line?
So LSU's minus 280, Florida's minus 280, and Vanderbilt's minus 165.
That LSU game is the perfect game to roll into a parlay, just to throw it to add a little value to it.
I agree. You know what? Guess what Tennessee is?
Probably minus 600.
Minus 3,200.
And who do they play? They played the 64 team. Yeah,
minus 3,200.
They probably play Indiana University, Purdue University, Indianapolis,
plus Tennessee,
or DeVry. They probably played DeVry.
That's crazy.
So, talk a little bit about the house bar, Tigerland. We kind of forgot to mention. I wish I was wearing my hat.
You got You got DJ Road Dogg. You're going to be pretty soon here getting a DJ Road Dogg +1. He'll have the baby with him spinning the tracks.
He'll have his own little turntables.
You got to go see Rory. They're always turning up there Thursday nights, Saturday nights. John usually goes Saturday nights. And then
I go early though. I'm getting
Tuesday,
older.
Wednesday, too. You got to be there. House in Tigerland.
I go before the regular crowd settles in.
John, I have a question for House in Tigerland ad.
Okay.
What was your favorite House in Tigerland special night? You know what I'm saying? What was your favorite night or deal that they did? Well,
the deals are a little bit different than when we were going.
Yeah, they are now. That's what I'm saying. We're throwing it back. We're throwing it back because
I think Tuesdays were probably, I think most of our immediate friends' favorite night. They definitely had some sort of drink deal. I don't exactly remember what it was. But Tuesdays was just a good night to go out. It was almost like you were celebrating getting through. Yeah, penny pitchers. I didn't know if we should say it or not, but
tell Jeff to bring that back, but don't tell me we said to.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Good idea. No, yeah, but it was like you were celebrating get through the middle of the week, right? Because Monday through Thursday you go to class. Nobody goes on Friday, right? Because Thursday you go out to the house bar again. So yeah, little hump day. Tuesdays were hump day. Tuesday nights in college.
That's right.
So All righty. Well, I think that about does it for this week's episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. We cannot thank you all enough. I'm so happy to be back. Rory's going to be back next week. Rory's going to be smiling cheek to cheek when he gets back because he is coming home from the happiest place on earth. Oh, and by the way, since Rory kind of subtweeted me, like betting on whether I listen to each episode or not, let's bet on whether Rory listened. I'm going to text his girlfriend and try to get a picture of him riding the teacups at Disney World.
Oh, beautiful. That would be a beautiful picture.
And if we get it, we're just going to post it with no context.
Okay.
And wait and just let his phone kind of blow up, and hopefully like he'll be, screaming or whatever he does. So yeah. Shout out to the House Bar in Tigerland, Workbox LLC, Blaine Loop with Keller Williams Realty. I also want you to know that Keller Williams is an equal opportunity housing partner. Each office is independently owned and operated. DraftKings and the Boot Crew Media Network. Did I say Blaine Loop's phone number earlier? Either way, I'll say it again.
Say it again. I want to hear it.
Make sure to call or text Blaine Loop at 504-858-0031 for all your housing needs. All right, I'm gonna go text Hannah and get that teacup picture because I know he's riding it right. Can you imagine his big body in that little, and then there's like a little 3-year-old in the next teacup next to him?
I imagine that'd be a beautiful scene. Hats coming in next week. Get excited.
Boom.